If you've got $1,000 to spend on a pocket knife, should you? Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the KnifeCenter. Welcome to episode 269 of KniFAQ, the series where I answer all your questions, sharp or dull. To get those questions, we scanned the comments section, pull out some good ones. I try to answer them to the best of my ability, and Thomas behind the camera says...
Pie is just a giant Pop-Tart.
Things. Pie is just a giant pie, or is a Pop-Tart just a small pie?
That's not the direction this goes.
But pie are round.
Pop-Tarts are square.
Pop-Tarts are square. We've already lost half the audience. Hey everyone, let's get into the first question, shall we? Which comes from Steve Wilso, 5661. What is the best knife under $1,000? Looking for a folder that is smooth with roughly a 4-inch blade. I like Tonto blades. Love you guys. We love you, Steve. Yeah, I got some options here for you. Interestingly, as I was kind of compiling that, I kept it, somewhat around that $1,000 mark that you mentioned, because we're going for ultra premium right here. And then I expanded it to beyond Tontos, because there wasn't actually a whole lot in that price range in that size category. And I even gave a 1/2 inch or so of clearance on either side of that 4-inch mark. But even when I expanded it to other blade shapes, the picks didn't really change too much here. So let's get into them, shall we? The first couple are sort of the way we get to the $1,000 price point on a knife like this Liang Ma T1, which comes in $997, this is an upgraded version of a much more affordable model. Not a cheap model, but much more affordable than this. The standard titanium handled versions of these, or carbon fiber front, titanium back, are about $320. So that's a far cry from the near 1,000 on this guy. And the way we get there is, in this case, materials. We've got a Damasteel blade and Mokutai inlays, front and back, and a Mokutai pocket clip. Exotic, expensive materials. Now, on something like the T1, this approach works because the base model, the $320 or whatever base model, is already very good in terms of its construction. It's not really lacking in any area there. So it still feels like a premium knife because the $300 and whatever version already felt like a premium knife to begin with. So that works. And what we have here is a 3 3/4 inch blade and a very kind of traditional Tonto shape, as opposed to the more, strictly like American style or Western style Tonto that we see on this knife. I'll show you in a little bit. You still do get compound grinds. We've got hollow at the back, flat at the front, but you got that gentle curve. And for me, as a drop point guy in general, this would be like the kind of Tonto I usually carry if I'm carrying a Tonto. Not always, but it's very gentle. It kind of sharpens in one motion like a drop point would, because you don't even really see the transition there. But it's still a Tonto. But yeah, really nice titanium for the handles. It's not an integral, but the join between the two sides is very fine, very nicely done. Best knife under 1,000? I'm not sure. The next one is significantly less expensive, but it's kind of following the same playbook. This is the Shadowfire from We Knife Company. $619. It's got titanium handles and a Damasteel blade. And if you're unfamiliar with Damasteel, it's a powder metallurgy Damascus style product. So you actually get powder metal performance as opposed to like traditional ingot performance. So even though this is, way less expensive, it's following the same playbook. Standard versions of this start at $300. And the Damasteel blade essentially brings it up to $619 in this case. And again, like the Liang Ma, which is made by Riot in this case, We knives already feel premium. So you jazz it up a little bit, it still feels premium. In this case, we have a closer to 4-inch blade, 3.97 inches, so very close. So definitely gets you what you want, and it gets you more of that kind of traditional Tonto flavor is not the right word, but more of that stereotypical Tonto styling with the defined point, and you do have compound grinds on this knife as well. Next up, we have the Freak from Andre de Villiers, the ADV Freak. This is definitely the biggest impression casting knife on the table. Full 4.5 inches on this. Undeniable Tonto-shaped blade. Dual flat grinds on this one. Damasteel again. And again, same kind of playbook. This is a jazzed up version of a $500 knife. This one right here is coming in at, what is it, $980. Although there is a nearly $1,600 version of this on the site as well with Zirku tie inlays. This one is just titanium, various different treatments of titanium all around. And ADVs definitely create an impression. You know, can't be denied. Ooh, that was a rough flip on my part. There you go, that was a little better. Just kind of slid along the back there. Still worked though, as you can see. Is that too much? It's 4.5, not quite 4 inches. You know, it depends. But again, same kind of flavor. The reason I'm kind of hammering that kind of you know, point that, you know, that good solid bones made better or made more expensive anyway, is there's a difference in feel when you get to a knife that was created from the get-go to be that kind of price. Here's the thing though. Is $1,000 enough? Or is it too much? I want you to talk about this. Like, anyone out there who's spent $1,000 on the knife, have you been happy with your purchase? Do you regret it? Let us know down there. But anyway, the reason I'm saying that, check this knife out here. This is the Rockstead Chai DLC model. And it comes in at $900. And it feels wholly different from any of these knives here. Rocksteads tend to feel wholly different than any other knives out there to begin with. It's not 4 inches though. This is a 3.25 inch blade. To get a Tonto bladed Rockstead closer to that 4 inch mark, you're spending over $2,000. I know. They are very nice though. And the one thing you get on a lot of Rocksteads is a mirror polished convex that is utterly perfect. The attention to detail, the fit and finish, not just on the blade, on the whole knives, the whole knife when it comes from a Rockstead is always just impeccable and perfect. You don't get the convex to zero on this convex or on this Tonto. You get an actual secondary bevel. Those, you know, more than $2,000 bigger Tontos, you actually get a convex Tonto down to that zero, no secondary bevel, and it's just the precision to do that as evenly as they do is pretty darn impressive. So maybe you need to spend more than $1,000 to really feel like you're spending money. I don't know. I may be muddling my point here a little bit. All I'm doing to say though is this feels at its core, in its very bones, like it is a $1,000 knife in a way that, as nice as these other knives are, they don't quite have the same feel. Nothing at all wrong with these. They're very good. They're very nice. Rockstead's a little bit different. Just, that's what it is. We've got aluminum handles. We've got ray skin inlays front and back, which is really cool. And then, whoops, thumb studs. I always want to be really careful when I'm flicking Rocksteads. I don't want to take any chance of it flicking out of my hands, because that is a scratchable polish on that blade here. And the steel in this is YXR7. And I must apologize, I didn't read the steel before we started the video, and I haven't done any research to make sure I know what that is.
What kind of a knife guy are you?
A tired knife guy. Just got back from travel. But anyway, phenomenal knife. Not a 4 inch blade though. Is it worth $1,000? If I were to spend $1,000 on a folder, Rockstead would be at the top of my list because of that feel that they bring to the table that is, it's just unmistakably premium. I got a couple other options here that are also not quite as big, but like the Rockstead, bring something to the table that feels like it's supposed to be the price it is. And that is the Talon from G&G Hawk right here. Really awesome knife, $950. We got a few of these in stock at the moment. We're M390 in this case, modified sheep's foot, but it's kind of like a reverse Tonto almost. So it's
counts.
You've got the Hawk lock on it, which lets you do that flick closed, but you can't hold the lock back and flick it open. you have to use the thumb studs or the flipper tab right there. The thumb studs do work. I like the flipper tab personally and how it's used. You've also got that Hawk pocket clip right there that's actually spring loaded, which is very nice. Fat carbon jungle wear front and back on it as well. Truly a special feeling piece in hand as well. I mean, they're very, very, very nice. Last but not least, I have two autos from ProTech. Not as big as you want, and autos may or may not be what you want either, but we've got, which one do I want to show this one? A special edition of the Chavez Redención. This is the CCKS 2026 model. Going back to the original playbook.
California Custom Knife Show.
Oh yeah, thank you. This is going back to kind of the playbook of the first things we showed. It's a base model that's been elevated. In this case, we've got a mosaic pin, and we have Raindrop Damascus, Vegas Forge Damascus in this case, which is really nice. And again, for me, I like the gentle transition of the Tonto because it feels more like a drop point. But if you really want like old school Tonto, old school Western Tonto anyway, the CQC7 from Emerson, of course. This is the ProTech automatic version of it, 880 in this case. Unlike some of these others at the beginning where materials are just been like swapped out for different things, this one feels like it has more attention paid, certainly more machining time paid with the jigged titanium handles on this. Mother of pearl inlay, Damascus again, Nichols Damascus in this case. They're special. They are a special feeling. You can get most of the feeling for a lot less though. So again, does that make it less worthy of being like the best under 1,000 or not? Let me know that in the comments as well, folks. But for me, I gotta go back to Rockstead. Like the most worth it feeling knife around $1,000. Never mind size, blade shape, whatever, materials, whatever. I gotta go with Rockstead, man. They're just something else, something real special. Is it worth it? Let me know. All right, let us get to the lightning round for today, shall we? Which comes from KH Djas. Sorry for the question. This is a question show. We need, don't apologize.
That's literally what we're here for.
But is there a chance for expensive knives to automatically open when you drop them? I've had a cheap $30 knife that opens every time when I drop it. Here's the thing. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that $30 knife of yours. Maybe the detent could be stronger that holds the blade in, but even an expensive knife is bound by the same rules of physics that a less expensive knife is bound by. In which case, most of these knives are held in place by a detent. So it just takes some pressure to break that detent. And if it hits the ground really hard, that's transferring energy, which could move into the blade. If the energy is looking for somewhere to go, there's a chance that could happen, no matter how expensive the knife. If you want to ensure that doesn't happen, you're gonna have to look to particular styles of knife. The safest option would probably be an assisted opening knife, which is counterintuitive because those can be even more prone to like popping open, but look for models that have a secondary safety to give you that peace of mind. Classic example, the Kershaw Leak. This is one of the newer versions with a cool black and white swirl aluminum handle. It is an assisted opening knife, and if it hits the ground, it can pop open just like anything else. It's not a defect, but you've got that little slider there, which basically moves a pin in front of the spine of the blade. So it's, even if it were to start coming open, the motion would be arrested by that little safety. So that's a good option. It's not the only, this set of answers is not the only option, but I think it's a good one. The SOG AT series, the Flash AT here, it is an assisted opening knife and it comes with a spine mounted safety. So again, not gonna come open, pull the knife, flip the switch, and you can then open the blade like so. Benchmade, of course, their assists famously follow kind of the same category. This is the mini barrage. There's the full size if you want something larger. Again, spine mounted safety there prevents the lock from moving back and forth, which is nice in this case because it also works in the open position on the Benchmade. So you get like extra peace of mind for from accidental lock closure. So yeah, it's not a fault of your $30 knife, unless of course it's just a really weak detent on it. You're not going to be able to like spend your way out of that problem in terms of quality, but there are features like that you could look for if that is a concern for you. Hope that helps.
Or get a lockback.
It can even happen on a lockback. That's why I didn't go there.
Get a better lockback.
Even a lockback, if it's just spring pressure holding it closed, and if it hits at the right angle, it could still do that as well. Slip joints are way less likely to do it, but then you don't have a lock.
Switch to a boot knife. It has less distance to fall.
I can't refute your logic. Well, I could, but I'm not going to, because it is time for our It's time for our finalist question of the day, which is, of course, our most seriousest question of the day, which comes from Operi Buscredite, probably. MSQ, what is the perfect pocket knife for a nudist? Well, for that particular individual, grooming is going to be of even greater importance to the non-nudified people out there. And for that reason, I would actually recommend a straight razor. No pocket clip, but that's fine. Again, we're not dealing with pockets here, so we don't have to worry about does it have a good pocket clip or not. But I would go with this right here, the Boker Master Cutter Straight Razor. You've got a Damascus steel blade, desert ironwood handles, and it is expensive. It's about $976.65, but think of all the money you're saving on the clothes you're not buying. How will people, see your status symbols if you're a nudist? This would be the option right here.
That Damascus might be a few too many layers for a nudist.
Dang, that's good. You might be right about that. Or maybe they need the layers to keep warm? I don't know.
It's a surface area issue.
This is a really sweet razor, by the way. Anyway, that is all the time we have for today, folks. Keep your questions coming. Keep your most seriousest questions coming as well. And if you have any alternate suggestions for our folks, drop them below. And what's your budget? What's like your max budget on a knife? For many of us, it's never going to be $1,000. Even for me, it's probably never going to be $1,000, except for like maybe particular grail things. The lovelessness. Anyway, it doesn't matter. How much should you spend on a knife to really feel like you're getting the best quality in the world? Talk amongst yourselves. If you want to get your hands on any of these knives, check out the links in the description. We'll take you to KnifeCenter.com. While you're there, don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program or options at checkout, including Sezzle, if you want to break things into smaller payments. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off for now. See you next time.